So you've picked up your new GoPro Hero 4 Black or Silver Edition camera and you're ready to capture some awesome footage. Or on the other hand, you're looking to pick up your very first GoPro action camera, although you don't know exactly where to start. If that sounds familiar, this beginner's guide is for you, where we'll cover setting up and getting to grips with your new GoPro Hero 4. I'm using a Hero 4 Silver Edition here, although exactly the same will apply to the black. The packaging itself is rather straightforward to get into. And removing the sealing tape releases the top plastic lid, which by the way provides a great storage container for storing some of the GoPro mounts and accessories you'll no doubt accumulate. Removing the camera unit from its base, or any quick release mount for that matter, is simple. Just squeeze the two ends at the rear of the clip together and push forward. Reverse the process to lock the quick release buckle back into any quick release mount. Unscrew the thumb screw to remove the camera from the quick release buckle altogether. Bear in mind the small plastic piece labelled remove is for packaging purposes only and can be discarded. The GoPro mounting ecosystem is made up of these quick release buckles and mounts which snap into each other, as well as extension mounts which interconnect with each other and are held in place with thumb screws. The tighter the thumb screw, the more rigid the overall structure, so either use a screwdriver or a wrench such as the GoPro tool accessory for that additional turn. Also note the two thumb screw sizes. The smaller is for linking mounts, while the larger is used under the camera itself for added clearance when rotating. Note the small rubber piece within the packaging, conveniently held with a thumb screw. Once the camera is in a quick release mount, use the rubber plug to fill the gap. This reduces any vibration while securing the entire structure. A final note on packaging. Use a sharp knife to cut through the foam adhesive at each corner between the plastic base and the cardboard box beneath. This releases the base, which can be used to mount your camera securely on any flat surface as a makeshift tripod. The housing itself is rather robust and seals the camera from the elements. A GoPro dive housing is available in addition for those divers among us, but for shallow diving and any other water sports, this housing is more than adequate. The black clip at the very top pulls up and away from the front of the unit, releasing the rear door. It's a simple yet robust design that's easy to operate while secure enough not to open unless you want it to. Both a waterproof and an open back door are provided within your package. The closed back door, used anywhere where water, sand, dust or dirt may pose a risk to your camera. For all other scenarios, stick to the open back door. Not only will you capture richer audio from the camera microphones, but it'll also enable your camera to get rid of some of the heat it'll inevitably produce. Hero 4 Silver owners also receive a splash-proof back door with a soft membrane, used in wet environments where users still need to operate the LCD touch display. Thankfully, swapping back doors is an easy process. Simply open the case and pull downwards to release the door from its hinge. A firm pull is required, but the hinge is very robust, so there's no need to worry about causing any damage. Reverse the process to snap the required back door into place. Note that for Hero 4 Silver owners, unfortunately the LCD power button is covered with any of the rear doors. After using your housing underwater, always use fresh water to wash it out and get rid of all that salt water. Salt water will start damaging your case, whether it's the buttons, the seals, or the metal hinge pin. So give the case a wash with fresh water after it's had any contact with sea or salt water. Also, when storing your housing, try not to keep the waterproof back door closed permanently. If it's not being used, either keep the housing open or swap it over with a non-waterproof back door. You don't really want to compress that rubber seal for long periods of time when the housing isn't being used. The camera itself carries a rather simple construction. Special care should be taken of this black area, the lens. It's crucial that this isn't marked or damaged. The slightest scratch and you'll see it in every video you record, which will look dreadful when playing back captured footage. Always try to keep the camera in its housing to protect the lens, or purchase a GoPro lens protector. The first step is to insert a battery by pinching in the small button under the camera, while pulling the hinge outwards to unlock. The slim battery slides neatly into place, while a handy pull tab helps when removing the battery. Once installed, slide the battery cover back into place. Charging the battery is simply a matter of removing the side door on your camera to reveal its connectivity ports, attach the included mini USB cable to the mini USB port, and the USB end either into a computer or to a compatible adapter, such as an iPhone adapter that I use here. The camera LED will light red to indicate it's charging and will switch off once fully charged. Next, we want to insert a memory card. There's a compatible list on the GoPro website, with the two most recommended being the Lexar 633X or the SanDisk Extreme, either in a 32 or 64GB capacity. Avoid the SanDisk Ultra or any lower class card at all costs. Nevertheless, with the side door open, the memory card simply clicks into place. We are now able to switch the camera on using the single power button on the front of the unit. Press this for a second and the camera will beep 3 times, the LED flashes 3 times, and the camera switches on. There's no boot up time, just a second or so for the firmware version to display, and you're set to go. Taking a quick look at what we have on the LCD screen, at the top corner we have the current selected mode, so here it's on video mode. Next to this it shows the current field of view, narrow, medium or wide. Under this we have the current recording resolution and frame rate. When using the unique GoPro ProTune mode, a PT icon is also displayed. Beneath this we have a number, currently 0, which indicates how many clips have been recorded and are currently on the memory card. Finally, at the very bottom we have the amount of recording time we have remaining on the inserted memory card, along with a battery level meter, which indicates how much battery power you have remaining. With the camera now on, we use the same power button again to cycle through the different camera modes. The icon in the top corner will change to display which mode we are currently in. So at the moment we can see I'm on the video recording mode, and here we cycle to the camera mode. Notice how the information on the screen changes depending on the chosen mode. So here we can see how many megapixels each shot will be, along with how many images are currently on the card, and how many we can take before the card is full. Pressing the mode button again takes us to the multi-shot mode, onto the playback mode, and then we finally have the setup menu, containing general camera options such as wireless mode, date and time, camera LED settings, and so on. When in a particular mode, so the video mode in this instance, pressing the small button camouflaged on the side of the camera will display the settings for that particular mode. So when pressed in video mode, we enter the video settings. Here users are able to press the mode button to cycle between the settings, and the shutter button on the top of the camera can be used to change settings. So for example, to change the field of view options, I would use the mode button to cycle down to the appropriate setting, and then use the top shutter button to change that setting. All in all, it's a relatively painless procedure, and once mastered, settings can be changed with speed as well as ease. Notice how users are able to cycle between the different shooting modes at the very top of the menu structure. Cycling through settings will change the options available beneath to make them relevant for the chosen video mode. At any time, pressing the side settings button will enable you to jump back a menu and exit the settings menus altogether. One point to remember here is that we have 3 modes: video, photo, and multi-shot. By entering the correct mode, users can enter their settings for that mode. So entering the photo menu, we can change between single, continuous, and night. Similarly, by entering the multi-shot mode, users can change between burst mode, time-lapse, and night-lapse. Alternatively, users of the Hero 4 Silver can make use of the fantastic touch-sensitive display on the rear of the unit to make changing settings easier than ever before. Swiping from right to left will open the mode menu, letting users choose between the 3 main modes as well as playback and the main camera settings menu. Once a mode is selected, swiping up from the bottom will allow users to change the settings for that particular mode. Changing settings in this way is refreshingly simple. Users of the Hero 4 Black Edition are able to adopt the same functionality, although with the use of a separate LCD touch backpack, which will work in the same way. If recording in full 4K with ProTune enabled though, I would recommend removing the backpack to allow the heat to escape from the rear of the unit easily. Okay, so now we know all about the power and settings buttons as well as the touch sensitive display, let's move on to this button at the top. This shutter button is used to start and stop recordings or to take an image, all depending on which mode your camera is currently on. When shooting video, the LEDs on the front, back, top and bottom of the camera will flash red to indicate the camera is shooting video. You can switch these LEDs off in the menus, but by default they'll be on and let you see it's shooting video no matter which angle the camera is mounted in. As we've seen, whereas the power button cycles through menu options, the shutter button is used to select or change items and settings within the menus. So for now, bear in mind the power button cycles through modes and options, and the shutter button starts and stops recording or taking images depending on your selected mode, as well as selects or changes options when in the menus. A quick note with regards to the LED indicators. In addition to the recording indicators around the camera, we have a red LED indicator on the front to show when the camera is switching on and off and when it's recording. The blue indicator just above shows whether the camera's built-in wireless is on or off. Keeping the power button pressed for 3 seconds will switch the camera off completely. Notice how the blue LED is still flashing. That's because the camera's wireless can be switched on and off even when the camera itself is off. It's important you remember this because having the Wi-Fi on will drain your battery even when the camera is switched off. Users can manually switch the wireless off either in the camera menu or by simply holding the side settings button for 3 seconds, and you'll see the blue LED indicator flash 7 times to indicate the wireless is switching off. With no flashing blue LED, the wireless is safely off and it will no longer drain your battery when the camera is switched off. Viewing your captured video or images is a simple task and users have several options on how to proceed. One option is to connect the included mini USB cable to the side of the camera and the other end to your computer. The camera battery will begin charging as you view your content. Alternatively, users are able to use a USB card reader or SD card adapter to read the memory card when connected to your computer, removing the need to connect the camera altogether. Finally, using either the built-in LCD display on the Hero 4 Silver or a separate LCD backpack on the Black, users are able to simply swipe from the right in order to enter the playback menu and view video or photos directly on the camera itself. At this point, you should be relatively comfortable in getting started with your GoPro Hero 4 camera. Remember to check out all the other GoPro tips and tricks and review videos on the channel to give you a greater insight on how versatile this little camera really is, and for extra help when choosing the right accessories and settings for different shooting scenarios. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments section below. Alternatively, feel free to check out the other GoPro videos in my channel by clicking above or in the description box below. Remember to subscribe as there are plenty more GoPro videos and tutorials coming shortly. See you next time in Ifty's Tech Corner.